there everybody, it's Crystal, and this is the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. And for some reason, iPhones get a lot of hate, especially here in the comments. I always see comments that look like this. Who says stuff like that? Now, yes, that comment is a bit much, but I do understand why people get upset at iPhones. Here in the United States, they're the most popular phone. You see them everywhere. Yet you look at their price tag and specs, and this is what you see. $649 and $749 starting prices for 1080p and even 750p LCD screens, 2 or 3 gigs of RAM while there's phones with 6, no microSD storage, no NFC, small 1960 and 2900 mAh batteries, and there's phones that have the higher specs that can cost as low as $400. And as a technology lover, yes, the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus just don't sound that exciting. And I'll tell you right now, the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus are not exciting. But you know, you don't need to have an exciting smartphone to have a great smartphone. And the 7 and 7 Plus are great smartphones. But that being said, they're far from perfect, and depending on your needs, you might prefer something else. So this is the first time Apple has released the exact same iPhone design 3 years in a row. And while I do understand the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, it still would have been nice to see a new design with maybe smaller bezels. But we do have new colors though to kind of cover up the same 3-year-old design. We no longer have Space Gray, which was almost identical to the silver model, but instead we have True Black, which has been nicknamed by the world Matte Black. Now this is exactly the color that I've been waiting for with the iPhone, and even the Apple logo is a little darker with this reflection. This matte finish though is crazy slippery, probably making it the slipperiest phone I've ever held. But we do have another new black color called Jet Black, which is much more grippy, and it appears even darker with this shiny coating that reflects the light almost similarly to the glass backing on a Note 7. It definitely looks great, but it comes with some problems of its own. It's a huge fingerprint magnet and it scratches extremely easily. So easily that Apple even had to mention it on their website. And before even filming this video, I realized my jet black iPhone had tiny scratches towards the bottom, and that's just from putting it in and out of a case. Of course, slipperiness, scratches, and fingerprints won't be much of a problem if you slap a skin on them like the ones I use from Dbrand. So if you want some skins for any phone you may have, I'll put a link in the description. The iPhone 7s feature the same screen size as last year's at 4.7 and 5.5 inches. A 750p display on a smaller 4.7 inch screen actually doesn't look bad at all, with a PPI of 326. And on the larger model, we have a 1080p display at a PPI of 401. Everything is clear enough where you won't be seeing the pixels or anything like that, and the quality of the screens themselves are actually really great. This is something Apple improved on this year. And something you'll see right when you take an iPhone 7 out of the box is how much warmer the colors are compared to last year's iPhone. It's a much more color accurate screen now, and goodness, do these screens get bright enough to see outdoors with no problems. Sure, I would have loved to see an AMOLED display here, and some extra resolution on these phones would make things even more clear, but with more pixels, you're always sacrificing some battery life. So here, it's definitely an accepted trade-off. So what other changes are there with the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus? Well, one change is a home button. It's not a button anymore, it's more of a touchpad that creates a little vibration that makes it feel like the button is actually being clicked. Now, it doesn't feel like a real click, and even if you want to try comparing this new vibrating home button to the vibration you feel when you click the on-screen home button on an Android phone, it's still not in any way similar. Already, going back to an iPhone 6s and clicking this actual button, it feels a little ancient and cheap. But what's funny is that there's even an audible click sound when you push on the button, and that's not the vibration you're hearing. The iPhone 7 is actually playing a clicking sound from its speaker. Apple created something called a haptic engine with last year's iPhone 6s, which has only been improved with this year's iPhones. And even though this little engine vibrates, it actually doesn't feel like a vibration. It feels more like a tap. You're never going to hear this annoying sound with the new iPhones. Instead, you'll hear this. And these little bits of vibration feedback are found all throughout the phone. You get a little tap when the notification pull down bounces to the bottom, when you rearrange icons, turn a toggle switch on or off, and my favorite, scrolling to screens like this. Man, it's so satisfying. Having these little vibrations tap you as you navigate around the phone just makes interacting with the device seem more alive. But of course, the addition of this new haptic engine meant something had to be removed to make some room, and out of all the things that could have been removed, Apple courageously took the headphone jack away from us. I mean, we've all heard about this by now, and although it seems like the most annoying thing and almost a deal breaker, it really isn't, because you have 4 options here. One, you can use a lightning ear pods that Apple provides in the box. Now this is good if you're somebody who doesn't really care too much about sound quality, and they're pretty much the same ones that you found out of the box in the previous iPhone released, and the first pair is free. Secondly, you can go out and buy lightning headphones, which is my least favorite of the options. I just would never want to spend over $50 on a pair of headphones that only work with my iPhone. But the third option is my favorite, Bluetooth headphones. And I've actually been using Bluetooth headphones for a while now because I'm just not a fan of wires when it comes to things like running. But there are some downsides here, like it's a bit more of a hassle to set up Bluetooth, especially in cars. So that leads us to our fourth option, the 3.5mm to lightning adapter. So yeah, you can use any pair of headphones you already have with this adapter, and sound quality won't be affected too much. Just don't lose this. Another hardware change is the addition of a front-facing speaker at the top of the phone, which doubles as the earpiece. Now this actually creates a dual speaker arrangement with the bottom speaker still being here, although it's pointed in a different direction, but this setup sounds really great. Previous years, I would never want to watch a video with an iPhone if my laptop was near, but now I can easily enjoy YouTube videos right from the phone, and the sound quality is fantastic. Probably the biggest new feature is that the new iPhones are IP67 water and dust resistant. Should you be showering with them? Probably not, but can you? Well, yeah, it should be fine. With Apple creating the actual hardware of the device along with the software, you'll be having one of the fastest and smoothest experiences with the phone. Apple's quad-core A10 Fusion chip, even with its 2 and 3 gigs of RAM, beats out any Android phone by miles. I'll be doing a comparison between the iPhone 7 and the Note 7, and you'll see this for yourself, but you should have comfort in knowing that when you click something with the iPhone 7, it's going to load instantly. The fingerprint scanner is the best example of this. I've been using the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus for over 10 days now, and I can seriously only remember maybe one time I failed to read my print, and it never seems to take a second to register either. It's insanely fast. But all this fast performance kind of goes to waste though with iOS 10's animations. In a way, I love the animations. It's another way to make the phone feel a bit more alive and less two-dimensional, but man, these are slow. I always find myself waiting for the rubber band animation to stop before I can click something. Now, there's so much I love about iOS 10 and so much I do not like. So let's start with what I like. Now, of course, the biggest one is that speed. And the recent app screen always remembers things, like Pokemon Go. No matter how long ago it was when I stopped playing, it's always still there, ready to go. And another thing I love so much, and this is probably going to shock a lot of you, but I love the new widget system here. No, you can't put them wherever you want on the home screen. Instead, you'll find them as you swipe right on the home screen, lock screen, and even the notification panel. But what I like is how every widget, no matter from what company or app design, it looks the same. They appear as square cars with rounded corners with either a light or dark opaque background. And you can expand them by clicking show more. And since you can scroll up and down, that saves a lot of room without having to add more home screens. Also, I love how it lights up when you raise the phone. Similar to a Motorola phone, but it's even more helpful here because it shows you each notification in full. And of course, I love iMessage. Now, sure, if you don't know anybody that has an iPhone, this is irrelevant, but here in North America, almost everyone I see has an iPhone, including my friends and family. So not only does iMessage seamlessly activate when you happen to be talking to someone who also has an iPhone, but you can see things like when your friend is typing or read your message. And with iOS 10, there's also a ton of new things you can do. You can send animated GIFs. GIFs? I don't know. Send drawings, add fun animations, and even message bubble effects. I'm a huge texter, so any way to make my conversations have more emotion and become more personal is a huge win for me. And of course, if you happen to have a Mac computer, you can also send these iMessages through the messaging app, which is so helpful. And I'm really gonna miss these personal touches while texting my loved ones when I switch to a new phone. Even things like AirDrop blow my mind. How I can transfer a 4GB movie from my MacBook to my iPhone wirelessly, even with my crazy 0.7 Wi-Fi upload speeds in 30 seconds. It's amazing. But there's a lot of things here that just drive me crazy. Not seeing what notifications I have by glancing in the corner makes me feel so unorganized. Not being able to put icons wherever I want seems so silly, especially since it's hard to reach the top of the screens. I can't choose what apps I want as my default, so if I ever click on an address anywhere throughout the phone, it'll open in Apple Maps instead of my preferred Google Maps. And I have to go through Safari to add websites to my home screen. I can't download big apps unless I'm on Wi-Fi, even with an unlimited data plan. The YouTube app has an extra upload step where it forces me to pick an upload quality, and 4K is not one of them. Also, while on LTE, the iPhone won't let me choose a playback resolution. It thinks it knows what's best for me, even though I do have an unlimited data plan. Apps can't truly run in the background, so things like Google Photos won't let me upload pictures unless I leave my screen on all night. And transferring music or videos to and from your computer if you can't use AirDrop is so much of a nightmare. I'd rather just send things through Google Drive with my super slow Wi-Fi. And contrary to popular belief, the iPhone isn't free from having bugs. One very annoying one plaguing lots of iPhone 7 owners, including myself, is how once I leave the house, the phone will get stuck on either no service or 4G instead of 4G LTE. And that 4G icon pretty much means no service, so you'll either have to restart your phone or turn airplane mode on and then off. The cameras have had some changes this year, with both the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus having identical cameras. So even the smaller model has optical image stabilization this year. And now we have lower apertures of 1.8, which helps make photos brighter in low light. Last year, I never found myself reaching for the iPhone 6s when it came to picture taking, because there was just so much better options out there. But this year is a much different story. The little improvements the 7 has with this camera now make it worth using for me. In outdoors, the main differences are dynamic range and depth of field. The iPhone 7s handle situations with both dark and bright areas very well, exposing both very well. However, in low light, differences aren't night and day, but they're definitely a little brighter with the iPhone 7s, and you can see this if you watch my iPhone 7 versus iPhone 6s camera comparison. And if you're wondering how the iPhone 7 holds up against the competition, I also have a camera comparison with the Galaxy S7, so check the links below to check those out. Now, there is one difference between the 7 and 7 Plus in terms of cameras. The iPhone 7 Plus has an extra one. The wide angle is the same one that we've been used to, and the new lens is a zoom one, which they call telephoto. So now when you zoom in by at least 2 times, you'll automatically switch to the telephoto lens, which doesn't have optical image stabilization or a low aperture, but it will make photos look a lot clearer. But in low light, the iPhone resorts to the normal lens due to it being much better in low light. There's also a really cool feature coming to the Plus's telephoto lens called Depth Effect. It's in beta right now, but by using the 2 angled lenses, the iPhone will be able to create a depth map, adding some artificial bokeh to the background. Although this won't work in low light, it still looks really cool, and it can only improve when it's officially released. So at the end of the day, the iPhone 7 Plus will still be alive. You should get about an hour extra of battery life than you would have had with the 6S Plus, but some days I did find myself charging before the day was over because I'm a pretty heavy user. And with the smaller iPhone 7, I found myself charging it every day before the night was over. And what's kind of unfortunate is that there is no fast charging here. So if you do need to charge, you'll be waiting around for a while. So overall, the iPhone 7s are going to be the perfect phone for many users. I mean, sure, there's not that many features, but the features that it does have work flawlessly. But there are limitations, and those limitations are going to annoy some advanced users. But is it worth the upgrade over the 6S? Well, if you're a big photo taker, the camera is definitely worth the upgrade. And that water resistance is a really great feature to have. But other than that, I'd say wait till next year's iPhone. So let me know your thoughts. Are you going to be picking up the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, or have you already done so? And also leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.